Ever wondered which Hollywood movies rattled the world so deeply, entire countries tried to erase them from history? Before censors ruled with an iron fist, filmmakers dared to show the unthinkable, sparking outrage, bans, and secret screenings on every continent. These 15 pre-code classics didn't just push the envelope, they lit it on fire. Which stories were so daring that governments, churches, and critics all declared war on them? Stay tuned, because the secrets behind these films are more captivating than any headline they ever caused. Pandoras Box, 1929. Long before Scandal became a tired headline, Pandora's Box defined the word. Louise Brooks, her iconic bob as sharp as her wit, plays Lulu, a Berlin showgirl whose free spirit and untamed charm draw everyone around her into chaos. Brooks radiates an energy that makes the screen sizzle, but it's the film's handling of forbidden longing and independence that truly shocked audiences. At a time when women were expected to play by society's rules, Lulu refuses to apologize for who she is. Her relationships, hinted and implied rather than stated, cross lines the era barely allowed to be whispered. Director G.W. Pabst fills every frame with tension and coded glances. It's not just about romance, it's about obsession, jealousy, and the consequences of refusing to conform. Censors in the US, Britain, and beyond couldn't handle the open depiction of characters living on their own terms. Scenes suggesting intimacy between women were almost unheard of, making Pandora's Box a lightning rod for outrage. Authorities in several countries banned or heavily edited the film, fearing its influence on polite society. Today, it stands as a landmark of fearless cinema, haunting and beautiful, a reminder that the most powerful stories are the ones that refuse to be silenced. The Trial of Mary Dugan, 1929. Imagine a courtroom drama where the real trial is over a woman's right to live by her own choices. The Trial of Mary Dugan stars Norma Shearer as Mary, a chorus girl whose relationship with a wealthy married man becomes the center of a murder investigation. When her lover ends up dead, Mary is the main suspect, but what's really on trial is her independence and refusal to fit the mold. At the time, audiences weren't used to rooting for a flawed, complex female lead who didn't care about social expectations. Shearer's performance is both daring and sympathetic, challenging viewers to see beyond the label of good girl. The dialogue is sharp, brimming with tension and wit, adding a spark to American cinema that made it feel more real than ever before. Of course, this didn't sit well with the censors. In Chicago, the film was banned outright. Critics debated whether it was dangerous or empowering. The idea that a woman could be unapologetically herself, let alone liked for it, sent moral watchdogs into a frenzy. But that's exactly why the film endured. The Trial of Mary Dugan opened the door to more realistic stories and characters, proving that audiences were ready for the messy complexity of real life, even if the censors weren't. I'm No Angel, 1933. No one ever controlled Mae West, and I'm No Angel proved it. West plays Tira, a circus performer with a quick wit and an even quicker tongue, who outsmarts every man who thinks he can tame her. The dialogue is razor sharp, filled with double meanings that dance around censors while leaving audiences in stitches. Mae West was a master of implication, never crossing the line but always towing it, with a sly wink that audiences adored. The movie goes beyond mere comedy, turning into a declaration that women could be the stars of their own stories, unbound by what others thought of them. When Tira ends up in court, she turns the tables, exposing double standards and defending her right to be herself. Censors were baffled. There was nothing explicit to cut, but the implications had them in fits. Some called for bans, others tried to edit her dialogue, but West's words always seemed to slip through. I'm No Angel wasn't just a hit. It was revolutionary. Mae West became an icon for generations, and the film is a reminder that sometimes the sharpest weapon in the fight for equality is a good laugh and the refusal to say sorry for being bold. Hell's Angels, 1930. Hollywood has always loved spectacle, but Hell's Angels took it to new heights, literally. Directed by the infamous Howard Hughes, the film follows two brothers caught up in the skies and heartbreak of World War I. The movie is remembered for its dazzling aerial battles, but what really caused a stir was its fearless portrayal of complicated relationships and the heavy cost of longing and ambition. Jean Harlow's performance electrifies every scene. Her character pursues what she wants without hesitation, a rare sight in the movies of that era. The story refuses to sugarcoat the turmoil of war or the emotional messiness that comes with it. When Hell's Angels hit theaters, it divided critics. Some marveled at its ambition. Others were scandalized by its approach to relationships and youthful rebellion. Authorities, in both America and Europe, bristled at scenes they deemed too suggestive, leading to bans or severe editing in some regions. But for moviegoers, worn down by the Great Depression, its honesty and scale were irresistible. The film stands as a testament to pre-code Hollywood's willingness to take risks, daring audiences to confront the reality beneath the glamour. Matahari, 1931. Few films capture intrigue and mystery like Matahari, with Greta Garbo at her enigmatic best. Set against the tumult of World War I, Garbo's Matahari is a dancer-turned-spy whose beauty and intelligence are her only defenses in a world built on secrets and betrayals. What set the film apart wasn't just the espionage, but the nuanced way it explored loyalty, romance, and the price of freedom. Garbo's performance is legendary. Her expressions reveal a world of emotion, often without a single word. The movie became infamous for its scenes of suggested intimacy and the artful way it pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable. Clever editing and fade-to-black moments did the work of 10 more explicit films, letting imagination fill in the rest. Censors were unsettled, not by what was shown, but by what was implied. The lines between right and wrong, hero and villain, are blurred, forcing audiences to confront tough questions about loyalty, patriotism, and sacrifice. Matahari is remembered as a masterclass in suggestion and complexity, a film that left censors scrambling but won over generations with its depth and daring. Possessed, 1931. Joan Crawford built her legend on roles that refused to shrink in the face of adversity. And Possessed may be the ultimate example. Crawford's Marion is a small-town woman determined to make her mark in the big city. As she chases her dreams, she's forced to navigate ambition, heartbreak, and the expectations of a society not ready for women who want more than they're given. What made Possessed so controversial was its honesty. Marion isn't punished for wanting success. She's portrayed as real, flawed, and fully human. The film invites viewers to empathize with her choices rather than judge her for them. This refusal to settle for easy answers or tidy morals left many critics unsettled. Censors, threatened by the idea that ambition in women could be admirable, demanded edits. Some regions attempted to block its release altogether, but the story's complexity and Crawford's powerful performance made it impossible to ignore. Possessed stands out for its empathy, painting a portrait of a woman determined to take charge of her own destiny, no matter the obstacles. In a time of rigid social codes, that alone was enough to make headlines. Call Her Savage, 1932. Clara Bow's turn as NASA Springer in Call Her Savage is nothing short of fearless. Raised amid family secrets and social pressure, NASA is a whirlwind, charging through life with a defiance that refuses to bow to anyone's expectations. The story zigzags from one dramatic revelation to the next, exploring themes that would have been off-limits just a few years later. What really set the film apart was its willingness to show genuine struggle, as NASA confronts adversity, heartbreak, and the consequences of her actions head-on. Bao delivers a performance full of energy and raw honesty, making NASA impossible to forget. Scenes depicting wild parties, confrontations, and rebellion were considered far too bold by the standards of the day. Unsurprisingly, censors responded with bans and demands for cuts. The film was considered so provocative that it became a rallying point for those calling for stricter regulation of movies. Yet, Call Her Savage endured, not just as a scandal, but as a testament to the emotional complexity that pre-code cinema could achieve. Babyface, 1933. If there's a single film that sums up the pre-code era's audacity, it's Babyface. Barbara Stanwyck stars as Lily Powers, a woman determined to rise above her circumstances. Armed with wit, charm, and sheer willpower, Lily climbs the ranks of a powerful bank, overturning every expectation about how women should behave in the process. The film was groundbreaking in its refusal to judge or punish its protagonist. Lily's ambition is shown as understandable, even admirable, at a time when women were expected to follow the rules without complaint. Censors demanded major changes, fearful of the message that a woman could succeed by her own means. Even after edits, the film retained its edge, with audiences captivated by Stanwyck's nuanced performance and the story's unflinching honesty. Babyface asks viewers to consider what it takes to survive in a world that wants you to know your place, making it a bold, unforgettable entry in pre-code cinema. Redheaded Woman, 1932. Jean Harlow was no stranger to controversy, and Redheaded Woman is a showcase for her rebellious spirit. As Lil Andrews, Harlow plays a secretary on a mission, determined to win the affections of her wealthy boss and climb the social ladder, no matter who gets hurt in the process. Lil's relentless pursuit of success, combined with the film's playful attitude, was more than enough to send censors into a panic. The movie's fast-paced dialogue is packed with innuendo and quick-witted banter, encouraging audiences to root for Lil even as she bends the rules. Harlow's performance is magnetic, turning Lil into an anti-hero who's as fun to watch as she is unpredictable. At a time when leading ladies were expected to be demure, Redheaded Woman shattered expectations. The controversy only boosted its popularity, making Harlow a legend and the film a landmark of pre-code boldness. It remains a reminder that sometimes the biggest rule breakers are the most memorable. 3 on a Match, 1932. 3 on a Match dives headfirst into the messy realities of adulthood. Starring Joan Blondell, Ann Dvorak, and Bette Davis, the film follows 3 childhood friends whose lives spiral in different directions as they reconnect years later. It's a story about temptation, addiction, and the far-reaching consequences of choices, presented with a frankness that left censors scrambling. The film refuses to provide easy answers or happy endings. The women's lives intersect and unravel in ways that must have been shocking to audiences of the time. Dvorak's performance, in particular, is a study in complexity. Her character's struggles feel heartbreakingly real. This raw honesty drew both praise and outrage, with some cities moving to censor or ban the film entirely. Yet, 3 on a Match stands as proof that audiences were ready for stories that didn't flinch from life's darkest moments. Its legacy is one of courage, a willingness to confront what others preferred to ignore. Scarface, 1932. Before gangster films became formulaic, Scarface redefined the genre. Paul Mooney stars as Tony Camonte, whose ruthless climb to power is marked by violence, betrayal, and an unwavering pursuit of the American dream. The film's unvarnished look at crime and its refusal to offer easy moral lessons set it apart from everything that came before. Scarface was notorious for its intensity. Gunfights, power struggles, and an atmosphere of constant threat kept audiences on edge. Censors tried to rein it in, demanding changes to the ending and the overall message. Some cities refused to show it at all, fearing it would glamorize lawlessness. But the controversy only fueled its legend. Scarface became a touchstone for what movies could be when freed from constraints, influencing generations of filmmakers and setting the standard for every gangster film that followed. Its message was clear. Sometimes, the scariest stories are the ones that hit closest to home. The Divorcee, 1930. In a time when divorce was considered scandalous, the divorcee dared to show the reality behind a broken marriage. Norma Shearer stars as a woman whose life is upended by betrayal and heartbreak. When she discovers her husband's infidelity, she decides to live by her own rules, sparking a journey that was both radical and deeply human. Audiences weren't used to seeing women take charge of their destinies, especially after a marriage ended. The film's depiction of a woman choosing independence over social expectations shocked critics and viewers alike. Censors wrung their hands over the story's boldness, and debates raged about whether it was uplifting or dangerous. Shearer's performance earned her an Academy Award, and The Divorcee became a flashpoint in the fight over what movies should be allowed to show. Its honest, empathetic portrayal of a woman's struggle to find happiness outside traditional boundaries remains just as resonant today. Millie, 1931. Millie remains one of the darker pre-code films, shocking even by modern standards. Helen Twelvetrees stars as Millie, a woman who leaves her unfaithful husband and must find a way to support herself and her daughter. Her journey takes her through a series of relationships with wealthy men, not out of love, but out of necessity. The movie's unblinking look at the compromises and risks faced by single mothers was unheard of at the time. Millie's struggle is real, her determination fierce. The film explores the limits of self-reliance and the dangers lurking in a world unwilling to protect those who don't fit the mold. Critics and censors alike were unnerved by the story's frankness. The film was controversial for showing a woman who makes tough, sometimes questionable choices, not for pleasure, but for survival. Millie endures as a powerful reminder of the sacrifices women have had to make, and the courage it takes to walk your own path. Blonde Crazy, 1931. Romantic comedies weren't supposed to be this daring. Blonde Crazy stars James Cagney and Joan Blondell as a pair of grifters, partners in crime as well as in love. The movie brims with clever dialogue, lightning-fast chemistry, and situations that would make any censor reach for the scissors. Audiences were used to seeing criminals punished or kept at arm's length. Here, the con artists are the heroes, and their escapades are depicted with a playfulness that makes you root for them. The script is packed with lines that push the boundaries of what was considered appropriate, and the lead's easy charm only fueled the movie's appeal. Censors raised objections, but the film's energy and wit made it a hit. Blonde Crazy remains a must-see for anyone who enjoys stories about bending the rules, and those who do it with a smile. Public Enemy, 1931. If any movie captured the dangerous allure of the underworld, it was Public Enemy. James Cagney stars as a young man who climbs the ranks of organized crime during Prohibition, his rise marked by ruthlessness, loyalty, and a constant struggle between right and wrong. The film's unflinching depiction of violence and moral ambiguity shocked audiences. It was a time when showing criminals as complex, even sympathetic figures was practically unheard of. Authorities called for bans and edits, fearful that the film would glorify lawlessness. Public Enemy struck a nerve, drawing crowds even as it drew criticism. Cagney's explosive performance turned him into a legend, while the film's daring approach made it a cornerstone of pre-code cinema. It's a reminder that sometimes the most dangerous stories are the ones that feel the most real. These 15 films didn't just challenge Hollywood, they challenged the world, daring everyone to confront what lay beneath society's polished surface. For every ban, every protest, and every outraged headline, these movies found new fans and kept the conversation going. Which one left you stunned? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's celebrate the art of pushing boundaries. Hit like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories, because the real drama always starts when the lights go down and the rules come off.